Hi all, welcome to Unacademy Plus courses. So here I am discussing some content for SSC, CGL, CHSL exam. My name is Vibin Kunjumon. This is my referral code. The content is from history. Already one free class I have taken last day from this area. It's continuation of that. So modern Indian history we are discussing here, and we are targeting upcoming SSC, CGL, CHSL exam and in English medium. So this is second free classes in YouTube from this history area, July month, current affairs. So this is my referral code. We can use it whenever it's required. And I have taken a lot of classes for the SSC, CGL, CHSL exam from GS portions. That includes polity, that includes geography, economy, environment, then the basic current affairs stuff like monthly, daily current affairs stuff. I have covered a lot. Then the science area, static GK area, previous year questions, and you ask it. So a lot of classes I have taken the plus courses in the last 1 year since our exam got postponed due to COVID-19 situation. More classes I have already added into the platform. So this is just another version of that. So modern Indian history, it's a second part. Fine. So 28 July today onwards, new batches starting in academy for SSC. So these are the top people in that and the best educators. So Phoenix batch is there, Brahmastra batch is there for all government exam because common eligibility test is announced for bank, SSC and railway. So next year onwards the exams will be like that, and the Safalta batch is there. So strong lineup of batches and very good teachers, constable exams and SSC multitasking, stenographer, foundation batch like that. So you can ask doubt, even as words you can ask or as sound you can ask, no issue with that. Price hike is there from today onwards, so whoever wants to enroll it, so got enroll in that. Fine. So there is a scholarship test also every Sunday 12 p.m. So if you are getting succeeded in it, definitely you will get some free classes from Unacademy. So we have solved a lot of questions in the last class. So whoever missed that particular class, please do watch that. And if you have any doubt, come back and ask here again. And I have a Telegram group also, SSC underscore KST. So in that you can ask if you are facing any issues with our Unacademy platform. Fine. So this was the last question I have discussed. Prarthana Samaj founded by which following reformer? So Admaram Panduranga founded Prarthana Samaj. So Brahma Samaj, we know Brahma Samaj founded by Rajaram Mohan Roy. Fine. So this question, try to answer it. So every question you will get 15 to 30 seconds for answering. Then we will continue with the explanation. Try it. Done. Who among the following leader presided the historic 1916 Lucknow session of the Congress? So what's the question? Question is related with the International Congress president. So which one? 1916 one. 1916, it's very important because Lucknow session. Lucknow means there was a pact called the Love Pact. So Love Pact between India, International Congress and the Muslim League, and a love pact between the moderates and the extremists. So, who among the following leaders presided the historic session of 1916? The answer is A.C. Majumdar. Fine. So, A.C. Majumdar, Ambika Charan Majumdar presided over that particular session. So, 1917 Annie Besant, Madan Mohan Malviya 1909 and 1918, A.C. Majumdar 1916, Subhash Chandra Bose 1938 and 30. Ninth. Second time, even though he got elected, he did not preside over that. He came out of that in Haripura session and started his own organization called Forward Bloc due to some differences with Mahatma Gandhi and Sitaram Rami. Okay, try this one. Done. Who was the first governor of Bengal under British? Who was the first governor of Bengal under British? Robert Clive, Warren Hastings, John Shore, Admiral Watson. So first governor is question of Bengal. We know that Battle of Plassey was there 1757. Battle of Buxar was there 1764. After that, Bengal came under the control of the British. So 1965 onwards, 2 year Robert Clive continued as the governor of Bengal under the British. Try this one, very easy question, 10 seconds. When was the Battle of Plassey? Battle of Plassey was 1757 between the Nawab of Bengal and the British. So Siraj-ud-Dawla one side and the British on the other side. So British won that war. Siraj-ud-Dawla got assassinated. Try this one. These are very basic questions. Okay, you could expect in SSC or any other exam, central or the state level exam, you can expect it. Fine. Who was the commander-in-chief of Siraj-ud-Dawla to side with the British in Battle of Plassey? Who was the commander-in-chief of Siraj-ud-Dawla to side with the British in Battle of Plassey? So the question is related with the commander-in-chief of Siraj-ud-Dawla. What is his importance or what is his uniqueness? He deserted Siraj-ud-Dawla and gone with the British by the offer called him will be appointed as the Nawab. So he cheated Siraj-ud-Dawla. That was one of the reason for the failure or the defeat of the Siraj-ud-Dawla in this particular war, and British got victorious side. Fine. So who was the that said the great commander? Mir Qasim, Mir Jafar, Shujauddawla, Shah Alam. So Mir Jafar was the answer. Mir Jafar. Fine. Try this one. Done. Who was the governor of Bengal when Battle of Buxar occurred? So Battle of Buxar you might have heard 1764. So when it was occurred, who was the governor of Bengal? Many will think it is Robert Clive, but that is wrong. The answer is B. The Vansittart was the governor of Bengal in 1764. In 65, Robert Clive. Fine. 65 onwards, governor of Bengal, Robert Clive. Try this one. Done. On whose order Sirajuddaula was executed during Battle of Plassey? On whose order Sirajuddaula executed during Battle of Plassey? Robert Clive, Mir Jafar, Mir Miran, Mir Qasim. Okay. So Battle of Plassey, Sirajuddaula got assassinated. But on whose order? We think actually it is on the order of the British, but no. The traitors were Indians only. Mir Jafar, no, the commander. His son Mir Miran. Mir Miran said, Papa, Maro Papa Maro. So Mir Jafar murdered Sirajuddaula from the British side. Try this one. Who was the commander of British forces during Battle of Buxar? So during Battle of Buxar 1764, British governor we know, Bengal of governor we know it is Vansittart, but the commander of British forces Hector Munro, Admiral Watson, Robert Clive, Mir Jafar. So these both won't be there. So the answer is A, Major Hector Munro. So Colonel Munro you might have heard. The same person only here. So Hector Munro was the commander of the Battle of Buxar from the British side. Try this one. Done. Which one of the following was the first Governor General of Bengal? Which one of the following was the first Governor General of Bengal? So Governor of Bengal you heard, this is Governor General of Bengal. So Robert Clive, Warren Hastings, Charles Dickens, William Jonas. So it is Warren Hastings. He considered as the first Governor General of Bengal. Okay. 17 1772-73 time he became the Governor General of Bengal. Try this one, question is lengthy. Done. Banaras Hindu College was established by Dash in 1791 to encourage the study of ancient Sanskrit text that would be useful for the administration of the country. BHU 1791 study of ancient Sanskrit text that would be used for administration of the country. So simply the question is 1791 Banaras Hindu University established no by whom? Annie Besant. Annie Besant cannot be because this is 1791 related. Annie Besant came to India in 1890s only. William Jonas, Balagangadhara Tilak, Jonathan Duncan. So Balagangadhara Tilak also no chance, either William Jones or Jonathan Duncan. The answer is D, Jonathan Duncan. William Jonas is associated with the Asiatic Bengal Society. Okay, try this one. Permanent settlement system was introduced at, so we know that this land revenue collection that was there in India, land revenue tax collection that was there in India, in different systems were there. For example, the South Indian part during the British time only we are discussing, and the South Indian areas, it was known as it was introduced by Munro, Colonel Munro. That was known as a Rayatwari system. Fine. Northwestern part of India, that was known as Mahalwari system. In the Bengal region, that was permanent settlement. Then if you are asking me exactly, sir, is it like Pakka South North? No, not at all. When it was introduced, the different administrators, the governors of that region introduced in this way, that's it. So this permanent settlement that started in Bengal only as part of the Cornwallis Code only, it's introduced there. So permanent system that is introduced first at the Bengal, so you can blindly answer that. Madras, if someone is asking, you can say Rayatwari. Punjab, if someone is asking, you can say Mahalwari system. So in the case of Rayatwari system, Rayat means actually the farmers. So the government means the British government directly taken money from the directly taken taxes as money or some other way, directly taken taxes from the farmers. But in the case of permanent settlement, there are landlords. Okay, so from the landlords, money taken, farmers paid to landlords. In the case of Mahalwari system, farmers together within a village pradhan will be there. So from that village head, the taxes are collected by the government. Try this one. Done. 10 seconds you have. Read question properly and answer. Which one of the following best expresses Cornwallis Code? Which one of the following best expresses the Cornwallis Code? So Cornwallis Code of 1790s, I have told you, it's related with the Zamindari system in India introduced as part of this. Actually, it was a kind of land tax assessment and the collection system. Provision related to governance, law and order, judicial, civil administration is that also. So both A and B Cornwallis Code. Try this one. Who is known as the father of civil service in India, or who is known as the father of civil services in India during the British time. From that time only it is said. Otherwise, father of civil service like that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel many times we remember. But before that, the British time, Cornwallis, Warren Hastings, Wellesley, Curzon. So who considered as the father of civil service? So definitely it is Cornwallis, because Cornwallis put a base for how the administration system should be there in India. And in most of the case, like a majority of this thing that's continued for 200 years and all, but peripheral changes happened. But after all, for a long time, the same administrative system continued. That's why we call him as the father of civil services in India. So during the British Raj time, Warren Hastings laid the foundation for civil service. Cornwallis reformed it, modernized it, rationalized it. Cornwallis is known as the father of civil service in India. He introduced two divisions, covenanted and uncovenanted. So covenanted means the high rank people. That's from the British. Uncovenanted means the Indians. Okay. So try this one. Question and answers are a little lengthy, but you can read and answer it. Done. Have you read it? Which one of the following is not true about the policy of subsidiary alliance? So, Wellesley Alliance, Wellesley only introduced the subsidiary alliance in India. So, which one of the following is not true? That means out of the four options, three are correct only related with the subsidiary alliance. The system of subsidiary alliance was pioneered by French East Indian Company Governor Joseph Francis. Yeah, French people actually had this subsidiary alliance. They were the one who started this. An Indian ruler entering into the subsidiary alliance with the British had to accept British force within his territory, also agreed to pay for their maintenance. Yes, that is what is the condition itself. An Indian ruler who entered into subsidiary alliance would not enter into any further alliance with any other power, nor would he declare war against any power without the permission of the British. True. If the Indian ruler failed to make the payments required by the alliance, the revenue collection of the whole kingdom will be taken over by the company. Whole kingdom, no, that was not part of it. So D is not part of it, other three are right only. So Indian ruler entering, the ruler would accept a British resident in the sense in the state. That means always a British officer, like we have now in our country, different states, centers nominee is there. That is our governor of states. So governor is a resident from the central government. Central government only appointing and dismissing that governor. So similarly, British send their representative, that is called the resident, to this particular princely state. An Indian ruler who entered into the subsidiary alliance would not enter into any further alliance with any other power, nor would he declare war against any power without the permission of the British. So, British permission is required in order to declare war against someone, concluding peace against someone. That means completely you are losing your independence. That is the truth. The ruler would not employ any Europeans other than the British, and if he were already doing so, would dismiss them. So, the British, whenever they enter subsidiary alliance with any country, it means any princely state, they will make it sure that their control in that state will perpetually continue there. Okay, so that is what the meaning here is. So what the meaning here is, here the meaning is no one means no other employee of the Europeans are allowed there. That means Germany, France, their employees should not be there. Why? Because otherwise there could be a threat from that countries against the British colonial power in case of conflict with any other state. So, in case of a conflict with any other state, he would agree the resolution decided upon by the British. So, if any other princely state related some fight happens, at that time also British will decide what is the conclusion. The ruler would acknowledge the East India Company as the paramount power in India. So, the ruler would accept that the East India power is the paramount power. In return for the ruler accepting this condition, company undertook they will protect the state from external danger also, internal danger also. That means if the people are revolting against the present corrupt administration, then also British will protect that administration from the people. So if the Indian ruler failed to make the payments required by the alliance, then part of their territory was to be taken away as the penalty, not the entire kingdom. Part will be taken as the penalty. So subsidiary alliance was pioneered by French East India Company Governor Joseph Francois Dupleix. So simply is a French East India Company Governor Dupleix was the one who first pioneered, means they were the one who started the subsidiary alliance. So 1740s itself he establishes treaties with the Nizam of Hyderabad and other princess states in Carnatic region he done. Okay, try this one. Done. Who created Madras Presidency? Such a rare question it is. Lord Wellesley, William Gifford, Warren Hastings, Cornwallis. So William Gifford is the answer. It's very old, pretty old one. The British establishing themselves, before the British establishing themselves as a colonial power in India. Even before that, this incident happened. 1684, Fort St. George elevated to the rank to become Madras Presidency with the William Gifford as the first president at that time. The city came to be divided in two parts. One is European inhabited, one white town, and the natives, the Pandis, the people inhabited black towns. Okay, they called them like that. Okay, so the black town were there, a white town were there. So Madras Presidency established as an administrative unit. First in 1684, some say 1652. So in 1801, it's roughly reached the territorial extent that is seen nowadays. Try this question. Done. When did Treaty of Bassein signed? So Treaty of Bassein signed 1799, 1802, 1808, 1816. It is 1802. So what was this Treaty of Bassein? So Treaty of Bassein, that was a treaty between the Maratha Kingdom and the British. So Maratha Kingdom and the British, or you can say Treaty of Bassein, that was the death ring or the death knock of the Maratha Kingdom. Or by signing the Treaty of Bassein, Maratha lost its independence as an independent kingdom in Deccan region. So the pact was signed between Bajirao II, the Maratha Peshwa, and British. So decisive step to break up the Maratha Confederacy, part led directly to the East India Company's annexation to Peshawar territory later in 1818. Try this question. 10 seconds. Good. So in which year Calcutta Medical College was established? In which year Calcutta Medical College was established? 1835, 1833, 1844, 1859. Calcutta Medical College. The answer is A, 1835. Next question. Which Governor General of India, which Governor General of India is known as the liberator of the Indian press? Which Governor General of India is known as the liberator of Indian press? John Shore, Lord Auckland, William Bentinck, Sir Charles Metcalfe. Which Governor General of India known as the liberator of Indian press? Any idea? Yes, Charles Metcalfe. Charles Metcalfe, 1834 to 36, he was the Governor General in India, known as the liberator of the Indian press because he abolished the press law. So, what was this press law? It put a lot of restrictions on the vernacular press. Vernacular means what? In Indian languages like Hindi, Malayalam, Tamil, in Indian languages, if the papers are published, that is known as vernacular publications. So these vernacular publications are a threat to the British Empire here because they cannot understand those native languages because India is such a diverse, it has huge number of native languages. So they were wary of that. That's why this kind of situation happened. And they put a restriction on that and they made it free, like free of restrictions for English newspaper. Clear? So that's why our indigenous people, our vernacular people wanted some freedom. They appealed to the governor at that time. Metcalfe felt okay, let it be. So he liberated Indian press system. Try this one. Father of Indian postal system. Father of Indian postal system, Wellesley, Dalhousie, Canning, Mayo. So Dalhousie has done a lot of activities, or the modern India was constructed by Dalhousie, you need to say, because the communication system, PW department and its activities, and the different transportation system network in India, these all were the contribution of Dalhousie and his activities. So it was later modified into the service under the crown in 1854 by Lord Dalhousie. Lord Dalhousie introduced a uniform postage rates here, helped to pass Indian Post Office Act 1854, which improved the condition of Post Office Act of 1837. And telegraph in India all started by Lord Dalhousie. Done. Let's discuss some GK content, mainly some geography areas because a lot of history questions we have discussed around half an hour now. Might be you might have felt a little bit boring with the history. So we will discuss some rough GK areas, mainly some geography regions and some economic questions. All we will be discussing in this. Fine. So the first question, read carefully and answer it. Done. Options are lengthy, so take time. Read it. Done. Which of these statements is incorrect? Which of these statement is incorrect? So, among these, at least three must be true, right? One is wrong. So, that incorrect, wrong statement I need to choose from this. Prime meridian passes through Greenwich and is at 0 degree longitude. Prime meridian passes through Greenwich and is at a 0 degree longitude. So latitude we know these are the parallels, longitudes are these semicircles. So 0 degree longitude, Greenwich prime meridian. Yeah, it is true. International date line on the map appears as a straight line along 180-degree longitude. That is wrong. International date line is a zigzag line that can never be a straight line. While crossing international date line from east to west, one loses a day. True. Tropic of Cancer lies at the northern hemisphere. Yeah, that is true. So B is the answer here. I think it's clear for all. Try this question. Done. The sun reaches its maximum angular distance from the equator at the. So Earth we have a 0 degree equator, 19-degree poles. So these are north south latitudes. Sun reaches maximum angular distance. So sun's angular distance moves this way. So this way. So this is the pole. This is the equator. But we know that sun never reaches the pole. Sun reaches only up to the Tropic of Cancer and up to the Tropic of Capricorn. So the sun reaches its maximum angular distance either here or either here from the equator at what? Zenith, solstice, equinox, noon time. Noon time means overhead, that is not the answer. Zenith means something top of it. Either it is solstice or equinox. We know equinox are something when the sun's position on equator. When the sun's position, when the sun's position when the sun's position on the equator, that is known as equinoxes. But when the sun's position on equator, that is making 0 degree angular distance from the equator. Fine. So solstice is the answer. Answer is B. Try this one. Which of the following is the international dateline? Which of the following is the international dateline ideal? Equator, no. 0 degree longitude, no. That is Greenwich meridian. 180-degree latitude, no. 180-degree longitude, yes. D is the answer. Try this question. Done. Which star is nearest to the Earth? Sun, Alpha Centauri, Polestar, Chitra. You might be thinking a lot. Simply the answer is Sun. Sun, that looks big, no? Like a sun's almost look like a moon to us. Moon is not a star. Otherwise, we would have said the moon is the closest star. But moon is not a star. It is like it is like a planet. But since it is rotating around the planet, it is a satellite. Fine. So it is not a star. But at the same time, sun when you take, it is almost look like the moon's size. Why it is like that? One thing is that the star, that is the sun. Star means something that produces light. Any celestial object that produces light is star. So sun is a star. Sun position is comparatively very closer to Earth. That's why it looks so big. Sun is closest star to the Earth, 93 million miles away outside our sun. Our solar system nearest neighbor Alpha Centauri. Alpha Centauri A and B are two bright, closely orbiting stars with a distant companion Proxima Centauri. So note that the pole star is a star that is above the pole, that is above the axis. So note that the pole star is not visible from the southern hemisphere. Pole star is not visible from the southern hemisphere. Why? Because that is above the north pole. Some of the northern constellations like Ursa Major, some of the northern constellations like Ursa Major may also not be visible from some points in the southern hemisphere. So some of the northern constellations like Ursa Major may also not be visible from some points in the southern hemisphere. Fine, try this one. Done. The speed of rotation of Earth is the highest. The speed of rotation of the Earth is highest. Tell me, along the equator, at the North Pole, along the Tropic of Cancer, along the Arctic Circle. So anyway, it won't be Arctic Circle or the Tropic of Cancer, either equator at the pole, where the speed is maximum. The pole, the North Pole, see, you take an umbrella, you just rotate it. So when you rotate, umbrella's tip is there, no? So the tip look like, oh, it's moving very fast. What about this head of this umbrella? It looked like the same position. That means the north pole and the south pole, it's look like almost constant. At the same time, A, the equator look like it's moving very fast. Fine. Try this one. Done. Which of these is the longest? So the length is more on which one of this? 0 degree meridian, that is prime meridian or Greenwich meridian. 180-degree east west, that means 180-degree east longitude, 180-degree west, both are same only, no? 90-degree east, all are equal. We know the longitude has a feature, that is longitude, all the longitudes are of the same length. All the longitudes are of the same length, so all are equal. You cannot say which one is long or which one is short. So D is the answer. Try this one. Done. The sun shines vertically on the equator. The sun shines vertically on the equator throughout the year. Will it shines vertically on the equator throughout the year? Do you think that on the equator throughout the year vertical? For 6 months, 6 months continuously on the equator, twice a year, two times a year, once a year. Which one you think? So for this solstice, you should know equinox and the solstice. So sun from here move to the Tropic of Cancer, come back here, Tropic of Capricorn. So within an year, twice it comes here, once Tropic of Cancer, once Tropic of Capricorn. That means twice a year overhead the equator. So the answer is C. Try this one. Rethink answer. Think properly and answer it. Tides in the sea have stored in them. Tides in the sea have stored in them dash. So sea has tides now. Tides means what? Higher water level, lower water level. High tide, low tide. That is what is the tides in the sea. In them, what kind of energy is there? So since it is water, hydraulic energy is there. Since it is movement, kinetic energy is there. Since this high low tide is happening due to gravitational attraction, potential energy also there. A combination of all the three forms of energy. So D is the answer. Done? Try it. Done. Light from the sun reaches us in nearly dash time. So from the sun, light is reaching us. How much time it requires? 8 minutes, 2 minutes, 6 minutes, 4 minutes. 8 minutes is the answer. Exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds it will take from the sun light to reach on the earth. Try this one. How old is earth? It is decided by which one of the following process, or the earth or its rocks ages are determined by which one of the following process. Geological timescale, radiometric dating, gravity method, fossil dating. So radiometric dating might be the answer. Radiometric dating is a method used to date rocks and other objects based on the non-decay rate of radioactive isotopes. Radiocarbon dating is a method used to determine the age of organic material. So carbon dating is used whenever organic component is there in a material. Radiometric is used whenever the rock's ages needs to be identified with the help of its radioactive property. Try this one. Question and options are lengthy, so read it, take 1 minute and do it. Done. During the monsoon season, rainfall decreases from Ganga Delta to the Punjab plains. So Ganga Delta means where? Near to the West Bengal. From there to the Punjab Delta, that means our foothills of Himalayas. So towards there, this monsoon decreases. Why? Because it is moving away from the coastal region. The area is far away from the sea. Hills do not form barrier. Western region warmer. Monsoon current moves westward along the Ganga plain and becomes drier. A is the best answer in this. Fine. A and D looks okay, but A is the best answer in this. That's why I have gone with that. Okay. Try this question. Looks little bit lengthy. Take 1 minute and answer it. Done. The temperature of Thiruvananthapuram. Thiruvananthapuram is the capital city of Kerala, southern coast, is lower than that of Mumbai in May and higher than that of the Mumbai in January. So Mumbai and Thiruvananthapuram are coastal cities, one thing. Thiruvananthapuram, that is very near to the equatorial region. That means we are expecting more temperature there almost all the times. But Mumbai is near to the Tropic of Cancer, so expecting comparatively lesser than what we expect in Thiruvananthapuram. But it says temperature of Thiruvananthapuram is lower than Mumbai in May. So May time we know the sun's position is almost near to the Mumbai, higher than that of the Mumbai in January. January time it's near to the equator, means always Thiruvananthapuram is near to the equator, so always it shows. Thiruvananthapuram has cold current, no. Thiruvananthapuram has higher rainfall in summer and it is nearer to the equator. It's okay, let's see. Thiruvananthapuram is no on the windward side of windward side. Mumbai is on the leeward side. That is wrong. Both are on the windward side. Thiruvananthapuram is vegetated. Mumbai is not. That is not the reason for it. Thiruvananthapuram has higher rainfall in summer. It's true. There are summer rains in Thiruvananthapuram. That's one of the reasons for decreasing its temperature. And it is near to the equator. Since it is near to the equator, this January a cold condition is not affecting much on the Thiruvananthapuram. So answer looks like B. You understood, no? The southern states are very near to the equator. Since it is near to the equator, this cold time like November, December, January, extreme cold won't be affected in the South India. Try this one. The molecular formula of benzene. Benzene, 6 carbon is there, 6 hydrogen is there. That means answer might be D. Fine. Earlier you might have seen one question like how much is the angle of this? This angle is 120 degree in the benzene. So question could be asked in any ways. Try this question, read separately, think it and answer it. Done. Different components of crude oil are separated in the petroleum industry by what process? Chromatography, it's look like light related, fractional distillation, crystallization, differential extraction. I think from the reading itself you can understand it is fractional distillation. The process is fractional distillation. High temperature you give, so separately they will get deposited. That means different components are there in the petroleum. The gaseous component is there, oil component is there, the very denser component is there. So depends upon their melting point or depends upon their vaporization deposition points, they will be deposited in different ranges. Okay, try this question. Done. Easy question. Fast. Thermodynamically stable allotropic form of carbon is thermodynamically stable allotropic form of carbon: diamond, graphite, fullerene, coke. So the most stable, or you might have heard like the strongest allotropic form. Allotrope means chemically everything is correct, pakka, but the thing is that physically they look extremely different. For example, you take graphite. Graphite looks so black in color. That's carbon allotrope. Diamond, that's glittering and very costly. That is look like shining colors. So these both are different existence of carbons. Okay. So allotrope are those. So here the question is, which among them is most thermodynamically stable? The strongest is diamond. Thermodynamically stable is graphite. So allotropism is the property of some chemical element to exist in two or more different forms in the same physical state, known as the allotropes. Allotropes are different structural modification of an element. The atoms of the element are bonded together in different manner. All carbon allotropes are solid under normal conditions, with the graphite being the most thermodynamically stable form. They are chemically resistant and require high temperature to react even with oxygen. Right? So graphite is the thermodynamically most protected one or stable one. Try this one. Easy question. Marsh gases. What is marsh? Marshy condition. So water filled conditions. Those areas you might have seen. So marsh gas is what? Methane, ethane, propane, butane. Methane, CH4 you will mainly see in marshy region because anaerobic condition like the gobar gas you might have seen. Gobar gas also methane is most. So similar condition, anaerobic condition you will see marsh or the methane gas the most. So marsh gas or the swamp gas or the bog gas, these all methane. Fine. Try this question. The substance added to LPG to detect its leakage. So LPG, we all have now in our houses the LPG cylinders. So whenever this LPG cylinder from that the gas is getting leaked, we get a special smell. If you are corona affected, you won't, because corona is something like days you may left without smell and taste. So at that condition, it's very difficult. Otherwise, for normal person, whenever this gas is getting leaked, he will get a smell. Why that smell? Is it really that LPG smell? LPG, propane is the majority content in the LPG. So propane and butane. Propane is the most, around 60% is propane. Those are transparent, those are colorless, those are odorless gases. Odorless means what? They doesn't They doesn't have any smell. Then how we are getting this smell? Because a chemical is added to that. What is added? Ethyl mercaptan is added with that. That's why that is smell. So ethyl mercaptan, not methyl, but ethyl mercaptan is added. Fine. That's why that is stenching smell you are getting. Try this question. Done. Try this question. The elements in the 17th group of the modern periodic table are also known as the element in the 17th group of modern periodic table. Halogens, noble gases, transition elements, alkaline earth metals. So 17th means, any idea what all elements are there? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. That is the 17th halogens group. Yes or no? Noble gases are 18th group. Transitions are 3 to 10. Nah. Then alkaline earth metals. So metals, alkaline earth metals. Try this question. The most abundant element in the universe. The most abundant element in the universe. Helium, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. Abundant element, universe is the question. So in the universe, hydrogen is the abundant. Hydrogen is the source of energy. All the stars, the fuel is hydrogen. Hydrogen they burns, helium they produce. So hydrogen is the fuel that is running this universe. So the most abundant is hydrogen. Try this question. Try this question. The molecular formula of baking soda. The molecular formula of baking soda. Na2CO, NaOH, NaCl, NaHCO3. Baking B for bi. So sodium bicarbonate. Among these, if you are able to find sodium bicarbonate, that is the answer. So NaHCO3 is sodium bicarbonate. Yes or no? Whenever bi comes, that means a hydrogen you need to add there. So otherwise, if you are omitting this hydrogen, Na2CO3, that is sodium carbonate. Sodium bicarbonate means H you are adding in. Okay. Try this one. Try this question. Sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate is generally prepared by. Sodium carbonate is prepared by which of the following process? Kastner-Kellner process, contact process, Solvay process, Haber process. Any idea? Yes, Solvay process. So different process I have mentioned here. Contact is there, Solvay is there, Haber process is there, Kastner-Kellner process is there. Contact process is the process used for production of sulfuric acid, industrial production of sulfuric acid. Solvay, that is associated with the sodium bicarbonate production. Solvay process is sodium bicarbonate. Haber process is associated with the nitrogen fixation. So nitrogen fixation or the ammonium production is Haber process. Kastner-Kellner process is associated with the chloride related solution production or chlorine production, that is Kastner-Kellner production. Try this question. Try this question. Done. Green chemistry. Green chemistry deals with production of green colored dyes, reduction in the production of pollutants, reduction in the time of chemical synthesis, enhanced production in agriculture. So green chemistry, reduction in the production of pollutants. So anything that is making our nature more green, or anything that is avoiding or eliminating those are making our nature less green, That is what is green chemistry. So B. So many ways we can actually treat the modern pollutants. So that management, that innovative field of chemistry is known as green chemistry.